All eyes are on the Texas state capitol today as the impeachment trial of Ken Paxton gets underway.
Prosecutors say this is about holding an alleged corrupt official accountable. The suspended Attorney General calls it a politically motivated sham. You're taking a live look now over the Capitol this morning, where that trial is set to begin in just 4 hours.
Victor Jacobo is live in Austin to break down what you need to know ahead of the first day of this trial. Victor.
Yeah, in just a few hours, the Senate chamber here at the Texas State Capitol will become a courtroom, and Ken Paxton's political future will be in the hands of state senators. This all stems from allegations of bribery, corruption, and obstruction of justice against Paxton in his role as Attorney General. Here's what you need to know about how this first day of the impeachment trial is going to work out. Now, first, the state Senate will consider more than a dozen articles of impeachment and decide whether or not to toss them out. Paxton's attorneys filed a motion calling for 16 of the 20 articles to be dismissed. Once that is done, it will be time for opening statements. Prosecutors and Paxton's lawyers get 60 minutes each. After opening statements are complete, the presentation of evidence gets underway. Now, this is the crux of the trial, really the longest part of the trial, with each side getting 24 hours to present their case. Now, while the Texas Constitution outlines aspects of how this impeachment process goes, the reality is these are pretty uncharted waters for everyone, as this is only the third official to be impeached in Texas state history. Rika.
Victor, as you said, this trial is such a rare political event. What kind of atmosphere can be expected?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tense here at the state capitol as things get underway on this first day, as it really becomes a showdown between Paxton and Republican senators who are really going to decide whether or not to acquit or convict Paxton. And now, while there's a gag order on pretty much everyone involved here at the trial, we do expect to see supporters of Paxton in the rotunda later this morning to show their support for the Attorney General and show their disapproval of the impeachment process. That kind of illustrates the political pressures that not only Paxton's facing, but also the Republican senators are facing here as well. Back to you.
Yeah, there will be a lot going on, and we're following it all. Victor, live from Austin tonight. Thank you. As this trial gets underway, let's get a look at the key players, one being top defense attorney Rusty Hardin from here in Houston. Hardin, of course, will act as one of the lead prosecutors in this impeachment trial. The other prosecuting attorney is Dick DeGuerin, another legendary Texas attorney based here in Houston. Representing Ken Paxton is another well-known attorney, Tony Busby. He's also worked on several local high-profile cases, and Busby, as you know, also running for Houston City Council. And acting as the judge in this case is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. Patrick has served 3 terms in the Texas Senate and has been lieutenant governor since 2015.
At 5:06, the articles of impeachment against Paxton date back several years, but it was a particular court document that led to this historic moment in Texas history. Teresa Woodard breaks down the tipping point that sparked the impeachment trial.
It was not conduct, but a court document, this 10-page settlement that led to this moment in Texas history. If now suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton had not asked that taxpayers cover the $3.3 million he agreed to give 4 whistleblowers, we would not be here. Lawyers who worked in the Attorney General's office thought Paxton was misusing his office to help a donor. They reported it to law enforcement, and they say Paxton retaliated, slandered them, reassigned them, or fired them. They sued. That all happened in 2020. In 2023 came the settlement.
Ken Paxton, Texas Attorney General.
In February 2023, weeks into a new legislative session, Paxton testified before the House subcommittee responsible for funding his agency's budget. When lawmakers asked why paying the settlement was taxpayers' responsibility, the answer came from one of Paxton's top assistants, who was sitting beside him.
I'm just trying to get some clarity. Is the case against the state of Texas, or is it against General Paxton?
The case is against the state of Texas, and that's true of any Whistleblower Act employment case.
Unconvinced, another House committee, this one with investigative powers, quietly hired a team of 5 former prosecutors and detectives.
The Committee on General Investigating will now come to order. The clerk will call the roll.
In a more than 3-hour-long hearing on May 24th, 2 months after the investigative team began secretly investigating.
We were asked not to prove and not to disprove the allegations, but to follow the evidence and determine if there was a there.
The secrets came out.
So is it fair to say the OAG's office was effectively hijacked for an investigation by Nate Paul through the Attorney General Ken Paxton?
That would be my opinion.
3 days after this hearing, the full Texas House, with support from 60 Republicans, members of Ken Paxton's own party, impeached him. In a memo, the committee that commissioned the investigation wrote, quote, "But for Paxton's own request for a taxpayer-funded settlement over his wrongful conduct, Paxton would not be facing impeachment." So the tipping point was Paxton's ask, not his actions. In Dallas, I'm Teresa Woodard.
All right, Teresa, thank you. A lot of info to break down there. We will be following the impeachment trial very closely for you. Starting in less than 4 hours, we will have live team coverage from the Capitol. You can watch that on air, online, and also on the KHOU 11 Plus app.